not eliminated yet, but if they win, they are through to that semi-final match and in with a very good shot of winning the tournament. And first of all, we have Posesi's mage deck, because I believe this is a mage deck.
Yeah, well, like Hakar, man, like
Oof.
I did lose to a mage yesterday,
Really?
but it was from a Hakar off Conjuring on Siege. Yeah.
But here for Tom, we have a somewhat different story. His tertiary deck is really what I want to talk about, because it looks like he's got a pretty good anti-mage tech there.
Huge amount of like money from there.
Not bad at all.
And I tend to queue into him quite a lot on ladder. yeah. So like we do talk a bit once in a while, and yeah, he's a really solid player himself. He's been around for really long.
And he's clearly showing some very good results here. 11-1 through the Swiss, and now in the winners bracket in Group A, and we are jumping into our first game here. As we can see, tom60229 on the coin here, which is a pretty nice advantage when you're in the mage mirror, I think we can all agree. But Posesi's hand doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah, I think both of them actually have really good starting hands. We can see Tom does have the Sorcerer's Apprentice, which is really good. Like, it's really hard to deal with, since you need like both Ray of Frost, right? Like to deal with it. Both lists don't run Frostbolt, so yeah, Tempo Sorcerer's Apprentice as expected here from Tom.
This is what we've just been seeing more and more. When we were just hanging out with Hunter Ace in the foyer just now, every game he was thinking, Sorcerer's Apprentice, give me Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Please, Apprentice. Yep.
He did also cast Conjurer's Calling on a mirror image though, so you can't really listen to Hunter Ace. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
He did get lethal off the Wisp though, so...
He did?
Yeah, he did. So Tom Wu, both players playing really fast here, so... Tom starts off with the Intellect, casts the Magic Trick, gets a Bolt of Spectres. Interesting.
It's not bad. I think even if you're discarding a couple of spells, you're generally fairly happy with going for it in this mage.
Yep.
As we can quite clearly see, this is a Cyclone turn.
Yep. So let's see what he gets. So one thing to note that he didn't spend the coin. Probably
Do you like that?
Yeah, I actually like it because you kind of want to save it for like this, right? Like he actually casting the unexpected results. And also like keeping the coin allows you to go into whoa.
Page turner.
Oh,
that's
no.
insane.
Oh my god.
That's absolutely insane. Khadgar off of unexpected results.
And it came out first, so like...
Yes. The ordering was perfect.
Oh my god. Posesi's in for a ride this time. Like, he's in trouble. He's really in big trouble.
Some world championship points coming
That's how you
through
become a
already.
world champion, right? Like, Hunter Ace was so proud that he got like 2 tons of Conjurings just now. He was like, this is what a world champ is made of. So, yep, guys. That's why I'm sitting here casting and not playing there.
You're learning it. You're finally learning. As Tom here, he doesn't really have the ability to capitalize on this Khadgar quite yet. But I think the thing is, I'm realizing more about Mage is that you don't have to go for these huge Mountain Giant Conjurer's Calling turns to win the game. Boards like this very often get you a victory.
Yeah, like you get to chip away slowly, and sometimes, you know, the generated spells give you like fireballs, frostbolts, and yeah, the on-chip damage, like you can see there's a Pyroblast, so he doesn't actually have to push that much damage.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. So over here, I think he just, you know, needs to... Ooh, this is some mind games over here. I'm surprised though. I would actually like to see like Buffoon, I think.
I'm not sure if this was necessarily the best way to go about it. I love that he killed the Sandbinder though. I think that was pretty crucial on this turn, because we've seen more and more with this mage. Value trading with a Sandbinder and then Conjurer's Calling on it is just a really strong play. I think that would have pulled Posesi back in this game. And obviously we have to remember that from Posesi's position, he doesn't know what this secret is, which might make him play a little bit weirdly.
Yeah. So I think also the reason why Tom traded so much is to actually play around the Sea Giant.
Ah, that's another good point.
Yeah. So like he doesn't want to go too wide. I mean, he's in a really good spot. He doesn't want Posesi to have like, you know, Sea Giants into freezers. So yeah, good spot from him.
We're seeing the somewhat interesting tech inclusion for Tom of Rabble Bouncer. That seems like it's phased out of Mage quite a bit recently. Do you like that card in Mage at the moment, or do you think there's a reason why most people aren't playing it?
So I actually spoke to Tom earlier on.
Okay.
So I did ask him about the Rebel Bouncer. So he did tell me that he was just really worried about the aggro decks.
Fair enough.
So mainly Murloc Shaman. I mean, it's really good against like Lackey Rogue, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, like faces Lackeys and stuff activate Rebel Bouncer really well, and also of course against like the Hunters. So I think it's fine.
What to do?
I think overall, I like Tom's deck building. I think he's predicted possibilities for Mage, Warrior, and Rogue very well, which were the 3 most popular classes. And I think he's deserved to have done so well in the Swiss portion.
That's right. So he does continue to play around Posesi Sea Giant, playing on his own huge threat. I mean, there's no removal for a single tall threat, but you can always get away with like playing against a whiteboard.
Pretty important pickup though there for Posesi. The Snap Freeze, that makes a big difference, and he could go for the Frost Nova Snap Freeze on this turn.
I think he doesn't have a choice, but it really hurts to do it.
What?
This
Frost
feels
Nova
bad.
is so good in the mirror though.
It
It's
is.
so crucial.
It's essentially like, Holy Wrath Paladin.
Yeah.
Timeout in the mirror.
It is.
Yeah,
It's just another
exactly the
timeout.
same. So,
Or Ice Block.
but I guess he recognizes that if he doesn't like remove the giant, it's just gonna go out ahead,
Yeah.
right? Like,
And I guess this again goes back to Tom's play a couple turns ago to play the secret instead of the ping. Because that stopped Posesi from being able to play his mounted giant because he was afraid of Mirror Entity.
Yeah.
He just wasn't comfortable with giving Tom the initiative there. So from Tom here, like you said, stopping the Sea Giants, stopping the mounted giants, it's just been a really great example of disrupting your opponent's plays, I think.
yep. So Tom here actually went for some draws. So he's actually out of threats. Like the Rebel Bouncer is the biggest minion we can see from his hand. He was probably trying to go for a Mountain Giant. So Posesi here actually, pretty fortunate that Tom didn't have like the return refill. So, wow.
And credit to Posesi because it seemed so bad to go for the Frost Nova into Snap Freeze, but because he went for that, he's ahead on board. He's
Yeah.
got himself into a position where he could win this game.
Not anymore though.
Not anymore. Yeah, okay. You are correct. Tom did have the answer, but I think Posesi gave himself the best shot of coming back in this
For
game.
sure. Like, you can't play around cards that are randomly generated
Exactly.
all the time. So, pretty unfortunate that Tom did manage to pick up the Polymorph off there. However, I think Posesi isn't really complete out of it yet. So he does have like Cyclone, Evocation. He does have some refill potential, I can see. Like, yeah, Luna.
Even just Luna. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luna into Evocation is pretty nuts.
Let's go. I want to see Ray of Frost.
Behold
Ray?
the tools of
Okay, that's
not
decent.
bad.
That's decent.
We could still see a Ray of Frost.
The tools of creation.
Trick. I think I saw a trick. Okay.
You can just keep drawing cards. This is exactly what he needed to do to try and get through to another giant.
Ooh, another Evocation.
Yeah, I think you just take that for the extra
Behold
card
the
draw.
tools of creation.
Wow, that's a lot of red. But he's running out of like hand space though.
But now we can play the giant for 0 mana.
Oh my god.
Behold
And he can play the
tools
Cyclone too,
of
like-
creation.
Oh my
This
god.
turn was insane.
This deck is too much. At times like this, like,
Does he
come
even,
on, man.
does he even do it though? Because Mana Cyclone fills up his hand too much, right? I think he has to hold off for the moment.
Behold the
Yeah, I think it's
tools of
enough, right? Like the giant
Yeah,
itself
yeah.
is enough. So he does proc the secret now, really good information. So
Yeah.
it's not vaporize, just barrier. I think health doesn't matter too much now. Even though Posesi is pretty low though, like I think we
Yeah.
didn't really notice, but he's actually at 16 right now.
Yeah. Posesi's health matters a lot more than Tom's at the moment.
Yep, so I think Tom is just trying to chip away now. It's like banana hit. He only needs 2 more picks.
He just needs the Pyroblast.
Yeah.
He's getting so
Ooh,
close.
Oh my god, so many giants.
And with the Frost Nova, he's hoping maybe if no taunts come down, he will just be able to get the extra damage through.
Yep. However, if the Sorcerer's Apprentice sticks, he gets to fire off the Pyroblast next turn.
Yes.
wonder.
So in this case, because he's clearly looking towards Pyroblast as his main win condition, does he go Frost Nova Ping, or does he go for a Mountain Giant? I mean, I was looking at Frost Nova Mana Cyclone as well to try and generate some more burn damage. But he doesn't freeze the board at all here.
Hand is too full.
So I think from Tom's perspective, he does recognize that, Posesi is already one Nova down.
Yeah.
And he doesn't
That's
mind taking the damage from here, right? Like, I mean, Posesi has to have like the second Nova.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have it, he has to trade. Like, there's no way he's not trading. So I think this is pretty heads up from Tom. Like, he's okay with taking 1 turn of like 11 damage, and afterwards he could always freeze after Posesi has generated more minions, which is exactly the case
Yeah.
here.
That's good recognition.
Yeah. I mean, he's playing like, he's not intending to draw into like the second Nova.
Yeah.
He's just playing with what is available to him right now.
I'm too much of a coward to play Mage. I just throw down Frost Nova every time. I'm like 20. It's like 10 damage on board. Freeze it all. I don't want to take that.
Yep, so Posesi here going to build a board here. The taunt is good, prevents him from getting minions. Prevents Tom from getting minion damage in.
Runs out on me.
Those aren't bad options to be getting. Mirror Images, I don't think he wants to fill up the board space too much here. But it does protect his giants.
I think you... Does he go for it?
Because if he goes for the mirror image and Tom has a Frost Nova,
Yeah.
that's pretty disastrous, I think, because he wouldn't be able to play the Ziliax or anything else to put up more of a defensive wall.
And also, like, I think Tom only has one generated spell left.
Right.
Yeah,
in the
which is the Pyroblast, right?
Yeah.
So, like, it's not very possible, like,
Not likely.
not likely that the taunt will be removed.
Good point.
Yep. So I think that's fine. So Tom over here, I think he's starting to see that he's not going to be able to push the extra 3 damage in anytime soon.
Yeah.
So this is why he kept the Frost Nova last turn. So he's actually having 2 waves of Frost Novas now. Which
It's smart. Because he can load up so much pressure on the board while he goes for this Frost Nova.
Arena's full.
And again, he just needs that 3 damage through to get lethal with the Pyroblast.
Yep.
And now we need to start thinking, does Posesi start to smell that something's not quite right here? You know, can he realize the pings to face every turn?
Too full.
Okay, maybe he's coming in with some kind of damage. To which he has the response. Ziliax to start healing up would be a pretty good way of start stabilizing his life total.
Yep. So I don't see any other play. I think this turn definitely includes like Frost Nova.
I agree.
So Ziliax, maybe you could still hold it for a while more, since like the maximum output right now, as we said, there's only one randomly generated spell. You can't have double Fire Blast, double Fireball. So
I guess Splitting Image is pretty good. I mean, both the secrets here are pretty good for Posesi, right? In Ice Barrier and Splitting Image to... that's just a lot of health, basically, that he's gaining.
Alright, ooh, the best spell. The best spell in the deck. So I think I think you actually have preferred another Nova though.
Yes, I think Nova was the best card he could have gotten there.
Yeah, I'm just actually trying to figure out
this.
how Posesi gets out of this situation, to be honest.
Well,
It's pretty tough.
he does need to find another Frost Nova. He does have 2 of them in the deck. So that's a start at least.
Alright, so Conjurers doesn't get any more taunts, which can prove troublesome in around 1 or 2 turns.
The ping again, it's the clock ticking for Posesi. Like, again, he has the answer in Ziliax, but whether or not he'll see that it's necessary in the next 2 turns is another question.
Wow, this is actually pretty hard to get out of.
He does have a pretty good amount of, like a decent amount of freeze. Just the Ray of Frost alone
Yep,
can take off a lot of damage.
You probably freeze like the 2 giants. And I mean Ziliax itself is taunt also. And then you play down... Yeah, so you actually could go for Ziliax plus Barrier plus Double Ray. I think that's fine.
Yeah. The problem is though that if he has a full board, Splitting Image can't trigger, so he won't get another Ziliax or another Grave Horror.
I think at this point you just want to bluff your opponent.
I guess
feel.
so. Yeah. That
Like-
makes sense.
Okay, so he does go for the Conjurers instead. Yeah, he's not spelling the Pyroblast.
Time runs out on me.
Alright.
And I guess because Tom is out of freezes, Posesi knows that he will very likely be able to trade away his smaller minions, so Ziliax will be playable next turn.
Fair enough.
But if he doesn't play Ziliax next turn, he's just dead to the Pyroblast.
Yeah, but Tom is also in a pretty rough spot suddenly.
It's true.
So the ping on the Sea Giant was genius. I mean,
Yes.
Tom,
yeah.
he does know Tom has Conjurers, right? So he can't make the trade and then Conjures the Sea Giant.
That was 100% correct.
So I think the out here is probably, you have to conjure the Mountain Giant and try to get Grave Horrors. I think that's the way.
Is Tom in that bad of a spot though? Like he has Ziliax. He is going all in on the Pyroblast plan now.
Yeah. Ooh, this Doomsayer though, like without the freeze, it's so hard to go off.
Yeah.
Is there a better way to ensure that it goes off? He has to squeeze the ping in though. He really has to squeeze the ping in.
Yeah.
What to do?
So let's see. Let's say he pings. He's left with 6 mana.
Time runs out on me.
Oh, you hate to see that.
Yeah. Of course, by trading him first and then killing off another one, it makes another giant hit.
Okay.
That's 1 Taunt. I'm just doing some very quick mental maths here, trying to
Yeah,
figure
yeah.
out if he has the lethal or not.
Alright, so the obvious ones are basically Giant into Horror.
Yeah, 15, 19. I think he's a little bit off, no matter how you slice it.
Blast Wave.
Unless Blast Wave can get there?
Yeah, I'm looking at Zilex and Blast Wave.
Or if he can Conjurer's Calling opposing minions, so he could Conjurer's Calling the Rabble Bouncer, which very likely gets rid of a Taunt. And then if he goes Ziliax, I think he has lethal.
Yeah. I'm trying. My math, man.
I know, no. Welcome to the life of a caster.
Alright, so Blast Wave, Ziliax
Blast
into
Wave and Ziliax.
into the Rebel Bouncer, and then the Horror has 6 health left.
I don't think that's the way to do it. I think Conjurer's Calling is the way to go about it. I think that attack might have been wrong with the
I wonder.
2/2
yeah.
first. Because I think he should have Conjurer's Calling
Yeah, you
the
conjure
Rabble Bouncer.
yeah, you conjure the Rebel Bouncer.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Oh no.
Because obviously, if you Conjurer's Calling the Grave Horror, it has a 75%
Yeah.
chance to make another
One's
one.
out.
Also, he's actually
He
he missed, right?
He missed it, right?
Yeah, he missed it.
And now he's going to die because of it.
Oh my god.
What?
Oh no. Can we double check? Like he really missed, right?
It wasn't 100% because it could have rolled other taunts
Yeah,
either
yeah.
way. And
So-
that was a lot of maths to be doing very quickly.
So like basically Luna was 2
Yeah.
plus 8 plus 8 plus 7. Yeah, it was lethal. Oh
and I think
no.
Posesi realised it. Tom's plan with the Pyroblast
Oh,
somehow
no.
pays off.
Oh, that hurts so much.
This has got to feel dreadful for Posesi. Tom, as we've talked about, very clearly going to be switching over to his tertiary. The questing adventurers super janky and like it was just too slow and situational. And then players were putting in snap freezes,
Yep.
which felt a little bit better. And now we see Tom going with the polymorphs and
Yep.
the questing adventurers. I have no idea if it's going to be the final stop or if it will develop further in terms of the anti-mage tech. But it's a super cool inclusion to see.
Yeah, I think questing used to be a nightmare for a lot of players.
Yeah.
I think back then when Miracle Rogue, there was a questing Miracle Rogue around, so...
Well, that's a different thing entirely. Conceal on the questing adventurers.
Yeah.
Oh, the good old days.
Yep. So Tom does pick up both his, important cards in this matchup. Has the questing, has the polymorph. So Posesi here,
Oh.
he's afraid. He's afraid of the questing. He's gonna tempo out the Luna here just so that there's no questing shenanigans.
Yeah, I think this is gorgeous. Like, we've seen the power of just pulling ahead on board early on.
Yep. So, I took a while to notice that he does get to draw one also with
Yeah.
the evocation. That's nice. So Tom suddenly, in a bad spot. The questing's not going to be able to come down this turn. Probably just gonna arcane intellect.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like this a lot. I think, like, with this kind of the situation that he's in now, where he's behind on board, if he just plays out his minions like Banana Buffoon and then I don't know a Sandbinder on 4 or something, he's just falling too far behind. He's getting value traded turn after turn. So I like digging for something a little bit more spectacular.
Yeah,
over
you have
the next few
to
turns.
like draw a giant. Like,
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, you know that Posesi didn't side, so a single huge threat is still good enough. Might get you over the line, even though
Yeah.
you might fall behind. So Tom does pick up the second Arcane Intellect. I think that's pretty good. He's at 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, he doesn't overdraw, so he could just cast that. Take another 4 damage. Ooh.
Oh,
Okay, he's gambling.
yeah, he is. This is a brave play on trying to get the questing adventurer to stick. Obviously, the upside is just game winning. If the questing adventurer sticks around with 2 Banana Buffoons in hand, that could just take the game on the spot.
Yep.
However, we can clearly see
The Icicle.
exactly many ways for Posesi to
Ooh.
clear this off.
Snap Freeze. I think Snap Freeze is good. Like, he doesn't have the single removal, and I think he's not running out of steam anytime soon. So yeah, I like the Snap Freeze pick over the Arcane Intellect here.
I like it too. I think it was really close though, because like without a Conjurer's Calling in hand, I think he wants something a little bit beefier to do himself, which could come from the Arcane Intellect. But
Wait, what?
overall, I agree this is the way to go.
Ah, okay.
You surprised to see the Snap Freeze over the Icicle?
Tools of creation.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised. Right? I think I would rather keep it for like a giant.
Mm.
Yeah, so
I mean,
a bit surprising there.
It draws a card off of the Luna, which the I guess the Icicle would actually also have drawn a card because it would have been frozen.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I don't think you have to squeeze out the Luna value right now. Like,
Yeah.
how does Tom remove this Luna? Right, like,
That's a
there's
good point.
no answers at all.
I guess on the upside of his play, like he would have had to have used both copies of Ray of Frost, which is a pretty good card in this matchup. But,
Fair enough.
I mean, Snap Freeze is probably a better card in this matchup.
Ooh, counterspell.
Behold
Oh
the
man, this Luna is doing
tools
so
of
much.
creation.
And like there was a point of time where people were cutting Lunas in this deck.
Imagine.
Yeah, can you like imagine not having this draw power in your deck? Like, come on, man.
Imagine based on this one game, sample size, not thinking that Luna is the best card in the game.
I mean, Tom won because of Luna last
That's
game
true,
too, right?
that's true. Okay, 2 game sample size. It's the
Alright.
best card ever made.
Yeah, man. Best card in Mage. If you don't have Luna, don't play this deck. Nah, I'm just kidding, but yeah. Alright, he does draw the Giant. Okay. He's not going for it.
He could have played it and drawn a card as well.
Yeah.
But I guess his game plan at the moment is just...
Behold the
Oh, it's the
tools of
polymorphs, right? It's the fact that he
creation.
doesn't. He knows that the deck has been switched to for Tom into the tertiary. So he's thinking, if I go all my mana on a Giant, that gives the tempo somewhat back to Tom. Whereas with this, you know, what do you polymorph? There's 2 minions that you have to kill here.
Yeah, that's right. I think
this is smart.
yeah, against Polymorph you have to. It's a bit like against Big Game Hunter, where
Right.
normally you would go for like 3+3 on turn 6, so that you have 2 threats and it's not easy for BGH to deal with. Alright, so Tom trying desperately to get back into this game.
And he can do a lot on this turn. Like, he needed to do something spectacular, and this is pretty spectacular.
Yep.
But he's going to need some good spells to pull this back as well.
Alright, so I'm thinking of what are the good spells. He needs more freezers, he needs some card draw. Okay.
That's not bad. The extra
is that
Frost
all?
Nova could help a lot.
Okay.
And, you know, like, Power of Creation on the next couple of turns, if you can hit a damaged Stegatron or something like that, that's quite a lot of defensive power.
He just needs to draw Sea Giant, I think. I think Sea Giant is the one way that he can come into this game.
Yeah. He is running 2 copies of them,
Yep.
so in with a pretty good chance of getting one.
Sadly doesn't have any mirror images though, so I think after this turn Sea Giant will probably cost like...
What to do?
I think what Posesi has to do here is to make sure that
Behold the
he can't be able to
tools
play
of
like a Sea
creation.
Giant alongside a Frost Nova. I think that's the way he should play with this turn.
And Posesi, I think this line of play from Posesi is absolutely gorgeous. Like I think I would have last turn just snap played the Giant because it draws a card. But with this playing it on the same turn as Conjurer's Calling, Tom's at 7 mana. He can't play double polymorph, and even if he did play double polymorph, he'd just be dead anyway.
Yeah, so like the math checks out here, so Sea Giant would be like 5 mana now.
Yeah.
So you can't fit in a Frost Nova here. So
Great
yeah,
point.
just a small thing to take note when you're playing Mage Mirrors. I think Posesi has nailed that down really well.
Yeah.
What?
And although this looks like it's been pretty one-sided, which it has been for Posesi, you know, it all came down to that decision to coin the Luna with the Mana Cyclone on turn 2, which I think was not necessarily the most obvious of plays, because when you're on the coin, sometimes you want to just be looking for the Mountain Giants and
that's
things
right.
like that. But I think it was just a really nice play.
Yep. So I think yesterday also, I think was it Orange or Frozen? Frozen did mention that, you know, this is how the Mage matchup is supposed to be played. Like, just go ahead and go for tempo
Right,
early
yeah.
game.
And we've been seeing that in Grandmasters. I think that Orange and Huntrace in particular were 2 players who really, and Fino actually, who pioneered that play style of just curving out with your minions, playing Banana Buffoon aggressively, and just smoking them down in the early game.
I mean, that's what they always say about Hearthstone, right? Just play our green cards and you'll be fine.
The tools of
Yes, that is
creation.
literally all it comes down to. You're correct.
Alright, so lots of threats. Tom does not have any threats of his own. Still has a freeze, but no Sea Giant.
Yeah, the one Frost Nova peeking out in the corner is pretty much his only saving grace here. I mean, yeah, Astral Rift, if he can hit Doomsayer, then
Sea Giant.
maybe we have a hand.
Ah, he does get a bomb. 2 damage.
Yeah. Bombs have been pretty good this tournament, but not those kind.
So, okay, so Spellbender does stop Conjures from happening.
That's true. Posesi really just needs to figure out how on earth he possibly loses here.
Which I see it. If Tom draws Conjurers, conjure the Sorcerer's Apprentice for Doomsayer.
Yep,
But
that's it.
nope.
You win this.
Ooh.
There we have it. Much more
Yeah.
like it there from Posesi
Yep.
after a pretty sad game 1. I mean, he could be through already.
Yeah,
he could have
yeah.
won 2-0 at this point. But taking a win over Tom's
And yeah, I'm really glad that I could cast this game with you, Derek.
Me too, Sequinox. You're all right.
Oh, so sweet.
As now, for Posesi,
Oh no.
yeah, the hand last game was looking very good. This hand is looking very bad.
Tom does have the apprentice, so I think he's in a good spot. Oh my god.
Yeah. Worth pointing out as well, before we jump too far in, they're sticking with the same deck. So
Yeah.
tertiary still for Tom, with the questing adventurers and the polymorphs against to be very strong against the mages, and still the primary deck for Posesi.
Yep. So Sorcerer's Apprentice coming down. So what I'm thinking from Tom's perspective is how is he gonna will he ever fire off the Khadgar early?
I think Khadgar Conjurer's Calling is very much something he will consider. Like, he could even just do it this turn on the Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Oh, but I think the Arcane Intellect changes his decision. Oh no?
Apparently not.
Yeah. Okay, I like this. I like this a lot.
We saw this from Fino yesterday, this exact play that almost won him the game.
Alright. Ooh.
Against, I
that's-
believe, Posesi. Whoa!
Wow.
That's pretty good!
To hide.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, those are all three health minions, man. Like, that's no joke. So,
Look at the amount of damage he has on board.
oof. Oof.
Oof is correct.
Oof, indeed. Oh man, this series, man, like, come on. Like, can you guys stop? Stop playing like this.
No, it's Hearthstone. This is the Masters Tour. This is as good as it gets.
Yep.
And now for Posesi, it's looking like he might even be forced to going for Frost Nova on turn 4. Which is just horrible.
Yeah, so he has to dig first. He has to dig for cards first. I think the evocations are actually pretty crucial for his comeback if he gets there. So he has to draw like some giants into Nova. I mean, you could take like... Yeah, I think you can only take this for one more turn. I don't think you can take any more damage.
I think the thing for Tom here that I really want him to be cautious of is board space.
Yep.
Because I think the one way that he can put himself in a really miserable position this game, or a not winning position, is by locking himself out of the board. If he fills up his board and Posesi freezes and plays a couple of Sea Giants, for example, I think that's how Tom could potentially lose this game.
Honestly, if I were Tom, I would just not play anything for like the next... I don't know.
However long, until you can play a Giant, you just don't play anything, right?
Just don't play anything, right? Like, how does he... If he deals with it, then you play something. If
Exactly.
he doesn't, you're still like dealing 6, 10, 12 damage a turn, which is definitely enough to get you there. I mean, it's all about rationing your resources also.
Yep.
Yeah, so sometimes I think in Hearthstone, not a lot of people realize it, but sometimes doing nothing is the best play.
Oh,
This
that's
is-
why I'm such a good Hearthstone player. I'm great at doing nothing. that's my specialty.
Alright, so Posesi, what you got?
What does he got? Like Zilliax and then trade into the Khadgar or the 3/3? Like, Khadgar's kind of already done most of its work, but if you leave it up, that could be another board of giants that you have to face down.
So you have to cast Nova here, alongside some other stuff.
Whatever he's going to do, he has to do it fast.
What?
I think
What would I do?
He wanted to play Sorcerer's Apprentice and Arcane Intellect on this turn, but he literally just does not have time anymore.
Yeah.
And I think this could be what's holding Posesi back in this series, is just the stress. He's thinking of things too much, and he can't get into a clear mind state to come up with the best play quickly enough. But this is good. This is more like it. I want to see him make his plays quickly and think about it on the previous turn, and now just go, go, go.
Oh, okay. Oh, he does.
We must band together, united for
Alright, it's 4 tons, 2 freezers. Along the giant, okay. Okay, I think he's in it.
He's in with a chance here. This is not ideal for Mage, because going Khadgar and Mirror Image can actually be pretty punishing a lot of the time, because you just don't have any board space for your bigger minions. But it keeps him alive at this point, which I think is so important. He has to do this.
Doesn't have a choice, but I think Tom, the polymorph is probably gonna come into action right now.
Yes.
So you get rid of all the taunts. Play our own Sea Giant first? Yeah, Sea Giant.
Would he? No, I was wondering if he'd ever consider leaving up the mirror images, but I think because Posesi can sacrifice his two drops off anyway, you just push through.
Yep. So I'm looking at Sea Giant into polymorph.
That looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, you don't even have the Conjuring here, right? Like,
Yeah.
you already have 2 giants on board.
Tom agrees. He's very clearly setting up lethal already. The one scary thing about this play
Yeah, the two important
is the
pieces.
Khadgar.
Yeah.
That sticking up is a little bit scary. If we were to see Mountain Giant and Conjurer's Calling, Posesi would have found a way back into the game. Obviously, he doesn't have that, but Banana Buffoon, 3 bananas into the Mana Cyclone. This is a turn. Something could happen.
I'm still waiting for Conjurers into Doomsayer. I think that's like one of the best ways to come back in this mirror.
It's always something to consider.
Yep, so I hope he does get Conjurers off this Cyclone.
Well, whatever he's going to get, it has to be pretty spectacular to pull himself back in this one. I mean, there's not even Dragon's Fury in Mage anymore, so wide board clears aren't really available.
Okay.
That's not bad. Ooh, Shield Breaker silences a Taunt. So, that could make a difference later on if he's able to stabilize the board state.
Yep, so he does have a Cone of Coal, which is pretty good at this stage, I would think.
Yeah.
It's decent. Alright, so Tom here forced
I love this as well.
Alright. Get some taunts. Gets 2 taunts.
Yeah, this locks out any kind of lethal possibility right now. I mean, okay, he does have the Shield Breaker to silence through one of these Grave Horrors. There's never opens up lethal possibilities.
Yeah, like the Cone is definitely being bait for sure, but
Yeah.
how does he set up to get past these taunts?
Like we could see Cone of Cold on the 3 big minions. Frostbolt, one of the 3/3s. Can he fit? He can't fit in Ziliax as well then.
Oh, the second polymorph too, so important. Like,
Yeah.
Posesi could have went for Giant plus Cone this turn and like Frostbolt.
true.
I think that would have been like a perfect turn. But Tom did pick up his second copy of polymorph, so I mean, you can't. I would think that he was always going for Giant here. Like,
Yeah.
you don't play around the second copy of the card most of the time.
Yes.
So yeah, I think the fun about this deck is that you always have to think about what cards you could get off, like Cyclones and stuff, and like magic tricks.
And that's where the thing you need to be able to play with this deck is not just play your cards out because they're good. You need to think, I'm behind in this game, what's my win condition? How do I come together and take this? Which I think Posesi has done very well actually in this series because he's been behind in quite a few positions and managed to turn it round surprisingly well.
I mean, the first game, right, like, yeah, it was a comeback, right?
He was really behind.
Yeah, he was really behind and he almost won. No, he could have won. So I think the first game was really nice.
And that's just what's missing from Posesi. His fundamentals are really, really strong. He's just struggling on the big stage, I think, a little bit at the moment. But if he turns that around, he's in such a good position to take this.
Thankfully for him, though, like, this is the winner's match.
That's
so
right.
He isn't out yet. So Posesi supporters out there, don't worry, man. He still has one more shot.
He's in
if
with a
he
chance.
loses this game.
Yes, but for Tom fans, it's looking pretty good at the moment.
Yep.
Posesi kind of needs to find a freeze to be able to survive. Ziliax might protect him, but Tom has the Conjurer's Calling for that.
Oh, yep. So the emote comes out.
And that's it. Tom takes the series, our first player to advance through to our top 4 to be played later on today. And for Posesi, that's got to feel